Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 163 of the world's longest standard Denver Nuggets spin-off podcast. Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets' Serbian Corner. My name is Miroslav, and before we begin, please take a moment to like the video on YouTube. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the DNVR Sports YouTube channel and DNVR Nuggets podcast channel. The audio version is ideal for your commute or to make your office or home office time more bearable. If you want to support the show more directly, you can become a Patreon supporter at patreon.com/MiroslavCUK, just like my Seco tier supporters Peter Plummer, Daniel Lynch, and Brian Johnson. Patreon supporters can enjoy the ad-free audio version of this show. They can also submit ideas for guests and topics and appear on the show during the summer. The week started with the long-awaited news on Christian Braun's extension. As I mentioned when I was guesting on The Dig with Nick Herzog and Jeremy Poli last week, I was hoping for a 5-year, $122 million contract, and it ended up $125. It seems like a very reasonable piece of business for both parties, and one of my favorite Nuggets of all time is now locked up for the next 6 seasons. Peyton Watson did not get his rookie extension, so we will have to see what the next summer is going to yield for him. On Thursday, the Nuggets finally started their regular season. The Warriors, who played a warm-up game against the Lakers 2 days prior, hosted the good guys. Let's get the sports cliches out of the way and say this was a real story of 2 halves. In the first one, which Nuggets won by 9 points, Joker had 14, 7, and 5 on 5 of 8 shooting and 2 of 5 from beyond the arc. Very standard, efficient Joker. Aaron Gordon had 25 points on 7 of 7 from the three-point line. The second half, including overtime, was still great for Aaron. Another 25 points, 10 of 13 from the field, ended the game with 10 of 11 from beyond the arc. Joker, on the other hand, was 3 of 15 and missed another 8 3-point attempts after the big break. Jamal was good for most of the game, but he also blended it to a very disappointing overtime period. The Nuggets did have a contested floater by Joker to win in regulation, but after he had missed it, everything went to Honduras. This is a reference to a Serbian pop song from the 80s, and I will not spend any time explaining it on this show. Maybe someday. The Nuggets did shoot 50% from the field in overtime, with Joker having almost all of their misses, and turned the ball just once, but their defense allowed 17 points after Christian Braun and Nikola Jokic got hunted on every possession. Cam Johnson and Christian Braun combined for just 11 points in 80 combined minutes, so the Nuggets managed to ruin both a career night from Aaron Gordon and a very solid bench performance. Big Val was +4 in 12 minutes, so my main takeaway from the night was how to survive the non-Jonas minutes. 2 days later, a former rival, Phoenix Suns, came to town, and hosting a Devin Booker-led team is a recipe for a get-right game. 7 Nuggets ended up in double digits. All the starters played under 32 minutes, and they were all double-digit pluses. Nikola Jokic was in everyone's focus after an inefficient Game 1, and he had 7 assists in his first 9 minutes while not looking at the basket even once. In the end, he remained the starter with the fewest shots in the game and ended up with 14, 14, and 15. The three-point shot still isn't going in, 2 of 16 in the first two games combined. Jamal Murray was excellent for the entire game, played hard on defense too. Cam Johnson and Christian Braun had a bounce-back game, and Aaron Gordon had the dunk of the season already in Game 2. The bench looked great. Jonas Valanciunas, Tim Hardaway, and Bruce Brown know exactly what they are doing, and Peyton Watson is slowly coming along. Monday night's game in Minneapolis will be a great test that will show if the Nuggets are actually over the hump and ready to start a winning streak. Okay, my guest for today is one of my favorite people in the world, period. I'm locked into my podcast machine every time he podcasts for the past 8 or 9 years. I enjoy great movie recommendations from him daily, and I'm not going to say where. So much so that I hope he'll start the movie podcast one of these days, and I'm volunteering to produce those if it will help. From Colorado Springs, it's the legendary Denver Stiff, Gordon Gross. Welcome back to the show, Gordon.
Doing, Miroslav?
Very good. How about you?
Good, good. It's always better to have one of these after a win than a loss.
Oh,
So a blowout win, even better. I'm happy to hop on your show anytime the Nuggets want to blow out anybody, including the Phoenix Suns, because
as
nobody
as
needs to
you
watch a Devin Booker team do anything.
as you know much better than I do because you've been doing this for double the time I am. It's when you have a weekly show, it's always great if the last game is a win. You
Yep,
cannot expect every game to be a win, but the last game being a win is always a good vibe before the show. So I'm grateful to the Nuggets. I'm also grateful to Matt Ishbia because of the mess he made in Phoenix, so we can
man.
handle them so easily.
It's you see these owners who are very proud of themselves and know more than anyone else, and it's fun to watch them all fall on their faces all the time. I'm not going to lie to you. Like it is quite enjoyable to see all these geniuses of business step into the NBA and then just completely face plant.
Yes. Okay, so let's start just analyzing the week behind us. And let's start with the Nuggets as a unit. They looked excellent against the Warriors in first half and had a 7-point lead with 150 seconds to the end of regulation. At that exact moment, I woke up and started watching the game live, and the
Ah,
wheels came off. So first of all,
yeah.
my bad. But in the second game, the good guys led wire to wire and used the fact that the other team just wasn't good enough to compete. How would you assess the Nuggets start to the season in terms of defense, coaching, and fluidity on offense?
Well, offensively, I don't have too many problems with what they're doing, except for Nikola Jokic. Like, I do not want him taking 8 threes a game, and no other shots. Like, he's not taking paint shots on purpose, and I don't like that. I understand that when they're throwing two guys at him, if you have Horford and Draymond Green coming at him, I understand you want to get the ball out of there to somebody else, but also he's the greatest player on earth, and I need him to shoot the ball. Uh, that said, I have way fewer concerns on offense because Jokic will figure that out. That's not a problem. And Cam is going to figure out how to maneuver on offense more correctly. It's not like Christian is going to keep shooting terribly from deep all season. These are not problems that they have. Like Aaron Gordon looks amazing. Jamal looks amazing. Bruce is remembering how to play a semi point guard position. So all that stuff on offense, I'm not concerned about really. Big Jonas Valanciunas has been everything I wanted him to be. So my issue is, does anyone know what kind of defense they're running? Because they don't seem to know themselves, and I can't seem to figure it out from what they're allowing to be shot. I mean, the Suns had 53 point attempts in that game, if I'm not mistaken.
It's something like
So
47, something like that. Yeah.
it's an insane amount of 3 point attempts to allow. And yes, they didn't make them. I mean, they made like a third of them, but the Nuggets are allowing open shots from all over the court, and their best starting defender is Aaron Gordon. Their second best is Christian Braun. So Christian on the wing, I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he knows what he's doing. So I just think the defense is going to take time to settle in. They didn't have a lot of practice. David Adamman has talked about that they have that a lot of their preseason was on a plane. They kept having to fly new places. They only had one home game, so they're practicing on different courts. They had a little bit of training camp, and then they had to roll into actually playing games and then the season. So I think the defense is going to settle out in December. I don't think they're going to have a good one before then. And I'm okay with that. Their offense should be able to carry the boat until they get the defense figured out. But right now, it doesn't look great to me.
It would be good if they could stay healthy during that period because
Yep.
if you lose guys trying to get along in defensive schemes, it could just postpone the moment when everything clicks, hopefully, and it should be fine. You mentioned the large number of threes allowed, and it honestly it reminded me of Team Serbia's summer when Coach Bešić decided to give up corner threes, so
Right.
he would completely close down the paint. And you know what? That worked really well against certain teams, but against some other teams, it's not even the 3 pointers because nobody's gonna. I mean, some teams are gonna sometimes shoot 50% from the 3 point line and completely murder you.
Sure.
But another problem here is even when you have a dominant center like Jokic or Big Val and you're allowing 3 point shots, those rebounds are gonna be long,
Long rebound.
and those guys will not be able to lasso all of those rebounds. So that's another potential issue there. How did
Yep.
you feel about David Adelman and his game management so far?
Game one, I didn't like from the standpoint of not challenging a couple of plays he should have challenged, that his team asked him to challenge. He's very let you play out of it as opposed to Malone, who had rage timeouts all the time. So you can tell that already that Da is just gonna play on, like figure it out for yourselves. You guys are grown ups, and I don't have a problem with that necessarily. But down the stretch of the game sort of got away from them, and they didn't have good offensive possessions, and they weren't drawing up plays because they weren't calling timeouts. And so, in that sense, I thought he needed to have a little better, tighter grasp of the way the team was going down the stretch. I know that the Nuggets normally are a clutch team. Normally, they are good down the stretch, but the last year or two, they have not been nearly what they were during their championship year. And so I would like them to get back to grinding out effective possessions. And I really think that requires focus on all those possessions and not just randomly throwing up the ball and hoping it goes in. And again, some of that's fitness and early season stuff. The Nuggets don't train at altitude, so they are not overfit compared to their competitors. They will be in about 6 weeks, 8 weeks, but they're not now. And so, especially Jokic, I think he is not running to run net to net. He's running 3 point line to 3 point line. Um, he's definitely feeding the break from under the basket. You see him doing that, but he's not leading it. In January, he'll be leading it. In January, he'll take the ball and run it up the court. Right now, he is throwing outlets to Christian Braun every chance he gets because he doesn't want to have to run back up the court. And so that's just a time of the season we're in. It has nothing to do, I don't think, with long term plans.
So last night, the Nuggets used Joker on the top of the key
Yep.
a lot, far away from the paint. But at the same time, they were just attacking the paint nonstop because the Suns are on a smaller
Right.
side, and they were just using the physical advantage in the paint, and that resulted in I believe 43 free throw
Yeah, a ton
attempts
of free throws.
with the Nuggets, uh, which I guess it is efficient and everything. But what the hell is NBA doing?
Man, if they're gonna let you bear wrestle like that, yeah, that you're gonna have to go ahead and force them to foul you. Like that is a thing that we're gonna have to watch. And because the Nuggets are now a rather large squad, their smallest guy on offense is Jamal, who's about 6'4". Everybody else is reasonably sized or bigger for their role. Off the bench, you've got Bruce and Peyton Watson, who are also rather large for their role. And you've got Valanciunas, who's a 7-footer. So they are on the bigger side. They don't have the problem that Houston and the Mavericks are having, which is that they don't really have a point guard. And so those guys are struggling with that. The Nuggets don't have that problem. They keep putting Jamal Murray out there to make sure that there is a point guard on the floor. And so from a size perspective, in order to thwart the Nuggets, if they're both athletic and big, you're just going to have to play them physically. So I expect to see more of this. I expect teams to try to beat up Denver, especially because it doesn't get called on Joker ever.
Yeah.
So, if the plan is, and I think that's part of what Oklahoma City is bringing to the league. Everyone's a copycat league, and if Oklahoma City gets to beat everybody up, because if you do it all the time, they won't make the call. Then other teams are going to copy that, especially against Denver. So I expect to see more of that. But if the Nuggets keep hitting free throws like this, that plan is going to have to change. You cannot be giving them 40 something free throws,
Yeah.
and they're making all of them because now Aaron Gordon can shoot, and Cam Johnson can shoot, Christian Brown can shoot free throws. Like, you don't have guys on the starting lineup that can't shoot threes or free throws
Yeah,
or threes.
Chris Marlowe mentioned last night on the broadcast that all top 9 guys the Nuggets have right now are above 80% for the free throw line,
Right.
which equals at 160 offensive rating if you're fouling guys that are just hitting 8 out of 10 free throws. So yeah, that might not be a great idea. I was just referring to the new NBA rules or emphasis for refs to call fouls even on jump shots when the contact is being made after the shot, after the ball left the arm. Now
Well, that
they're
would
going
be
to
great.
call
I didn't
that as
see that in
well.
the Golden State game because there were a couple of shots where our guys got slapped on the arm and
It's
didn't get
true.
fouls called. So I love what points of emphasis that are emphasized in the games I'm watching. Like, they
yeah,
emphasized it in the preseason, but I didn't see it in the games we were watching.
yeah, I guess the refs are in the early season shape as well. Okay, let's take a short break, and after that, we're going to start analyzing the team player by player. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so let's now go straight into the middle of the not a problem. It's just what is going on right now. Joker had a weird start to the season. In game one,
Yeah.
he was often facing a double big lineup and decided to attack it from the outside, just like they did in game two as well. 13 attempted threes seemed like something the Warriors wanted him to have since he was wide open on several of those, but
Hmm.
also felt like something he wanted to have since it saved a lot of energy in the second half for him. Then in the Suns game, he faced no bigs that could compete with him, and yet he had one field goal attempt in the entire first half. He was super focused on having everybody else on the court in rhythm, and it's hard to say he didn't succeed at that. But he was so grumpy and so ready to start the brawl at any moment in time. How would you assess Joker's first 2 games and his demeanor right now?
I think he's been put on a workout and diet plan, and I'm with him. I wouldn't want to be drinking kale smoothies and running on the treadmill either. So I would be pretty grumpy about it. Um, but
I
also,
love that take.
but also for Nikola, I think sometimes when he has the mismatch, he doesn't take advantage because mismatching him means there's also a mismatch somewhere else, and he just goes to find it. Uh, he knows he can back down the rookie big that the Suns were playing, Malawach. You could rack that guy down anytime he wants. Like, anytime. Now, you notice that Valanciunas, when he got in the game, immediately went after the rookie. Because Valanciunas was like, nah, these guys can't hang with me. Whereas uh, Joker's doing other things on the court. And I don't want to say he was making a point, but he's always making a point when he decides to not shoot for a half or whatever. There's always a point being made. He had a press conference after game one, and people asked him, "Are you sure you liked all those 3-point shots you took?" And he said, "Yes, I liked all those 3-point shots. They just didn't go in." But also, he was annoyed by the question, so he just decided not to shoot at all in the first half. And the
Yeah.
Nuggets took something like a 17-point lead into halftime, or 14-point lead into halftime, because he was right. Like, yeah, I don't need to do that. I don't have to shoot at all when we can win. We have a good team. Now, there are times the Nuggets are going to need him to score. So I would like him to get in the habit of scoring. But we all know that Jokic prefers these games. Like 15, 15, 15 is his favorite stat line. He would take that every day if he could. And he almost hit it in this game. Like, I don't have to shoot that much. You guys take care of all that work. I'll grab a bunch of rebounds. I'll set the offense up. I'll initiate the break. and we'll win easy. And even when the Suns got a little close in this last game, a little close, it was like 9 or 10 points in the fourth quarter, and he came back in, and the starters immediately slammed that door shut. And he didn't do it by scoring; he did it by everything else that he's so great at. So, yes, I want him to score more, and yes, I expect him to score more. But this first week, he's just getting everybody familiar again with playing Jokic ball because nobody over the summer practices playing like this. Nobody. You can't practice playing like this unless you're him, but none of his teammates can practice this. You can't go find a 7-footer to orient your pickup game around. You can't do it. So this is very much a let's remind everybody here's how this offense works. Here's where you need to be. I'll take my shots eventually, but right now you guys have to be over here and over there, cut to the hoop. And you saw him instructing both Christian Braun and Cam Johnson about no, that wasn't what I wanted. You should have been over there on this side, and reminding guys here's how we do this game. And so for me, it's just first week. It's not jitters, but it's uh, initiation. It's reminding everybody what they're supposed to be doing.
I couldn't agree more with several points you made. First of all, in game one, he saw what bullying is doing for him right now. He missed a lot of shots he usually gets because, let's be completely fair and honest, he was efficient in the first half, wasn't closely as efficient in the second half. So it has to do with some sort of conditioning. And so he told himself, okay, yeah, Maloach is there in game two, but if I'm going to just bully him for 32 minutes, I'm going to get exhausted by the end of
Right.
second quarter, and we're going to face similar issues. Let's try to get everybody else involved. And by the way, he does that, as you mentioned, he does that uh, because basically this Suns team is a glorified um, uh, 5-on-5 practice. It's not a real game because you're not playing against like their their second best or possibly their best point guard is Colin Gillespie, who I love. But Colin Gillespie is not the guy you're going to use heavily in your rotation if you're trying to win a lot of NBA games.
Right. They have a couple guys in their rotation that you're like, if you were invested in winning 50, these guys could not be in your rotation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, friend of the show, uh, uh, Peter Plummer, he mentioned that Devin Booker in his for the entirety of his career never sniffed 50% record if he wasn't accompanied by another Hall of Famer. So let's just have that in perspective as well. And if you're building your team around Devin Booker, that probably means you're not looking at playoffs anytime soon. But who knows? Maybe they will strike luck in one of the upcoming drafts.
I mean, that's their hope
Where
now.
they don't have a lot of picks though, but something might happen there. Okay, let's talk about Jamal for a moment. I'm going to take a personal victory lap for his start to the season. I use so many shows to talk about just how bad his starts to the season were in the previous seasons, creating game show games specifically to show it. I was picking the stats that were just in the end when you see the whole list of players, you can see what I wanted to show there. And he also looked like he ran out of the gas in game one. But other than that, he has looked just the way I had hoped for. Playmaking, running the pick, taking quick catch and shoot shots, and making an extra effort on defense. What did you see from Jamal so far?
Well, so my thing with Jamal has remained that it's very, very hard to start the season really well if you were broken to end the last season. We found that with Kawhi. We found that with a number of people. And Jamal had the ACL that he had to come back from. Once he did come back from it, then he had a shortened year off because they won a title. So then he had to come right back into the next season. He was consistently injured. He came back. He was injured, and then we have this year. Before last year, he had those shin splints, and you cannot work out with that. Shin splints are horrible, and the only thing you can do for them is nothing. You can do nothing. You just have to not work out for months. And so Jamal, when he came into the season last year like that, I didn't blame him for that at all because he actually needed to come into the last season out of shape, or not have his full legs under him, because having his full legs under him would have been bad. He would have exacerbated his injury problem. And he did get beat up again last year, but not as bad. But coming into this year, I expected him to be healthy. The question is whether he was going to be motivated. And one of the things that you see from all of the Nuggets is motivation. They are extremely mad that 3.5 of them could not take Game 7 against the Thunder. And I find that to be hilarious personally, that, the team with the guy who had the dislocated shoulder and the guy with the ripped calf and hamstring problem and the other beat up point guard and Jokic, who's been dragging this squad along, all of a sudden those guys are really pissed off that it was right there. They could have won another title if they'd been healthy, and they weren't. And they spent all offseason making sure that they'd be okay. Now, again, for Joker, apparently that was, I'm going to not overwork myself this offseason. And that's fine. He'll get into shape. I wish he'd stop doing that now that he's 30. He's going to have to find some maintenance level in the offseason. Otherwise, it's going to go like Shaq. And Shaq, when he turned 30, that playing himself into shape again was not a good idea. But Jamal came in focused. Aaron Gordon obviously came in focused and had been spending his whole summer shooting, apparently, because his jump shot looks amazing. Cam Johnson looks really good and said that last year, some of those games that he missed, he didn't say it, but he was like, look, they weren't going to play me as much as I was healthy, because of tanking purposes. They would have won too many games if Cam Johnson had played 70. So he didn't. But they asked him how many games he wanted to play, and I think he said 77.
Yeah.
In on media day, and so he has high goals for himself that do not include playing 45 games. Same with Bruce Brown. Those guys put in the work, and I fully expect to see it pay off. And so far, all of those guys, especially Jamal, but Aaron Gordon too. Once both of those guys are healthy, you see how dangerous Denver is. Because Denver's big three, when healthy, there's not a team in the league that wants to face that.
It's so funny that he picked that number 77. Like that's the maximum amount of games somebody's supposed to play in these days. Like there are like Michael Bridges and Ivica Zubac, and nobody else plays all games
Right.
in this
Yeah.
league anymore. It's like it's pretty
He basically
crazy.
said all of them. Yes.
Yeah, and they do have like a 5-month off season when they finish, or 4-month off season when they finish it. So it's not like they don't have any leave time or vacation time. But I digress. I should not compare my line of work with theirs, I guess. Okay, let's take another short break, and after that I wanted to talk to you about the other starters and about the bench guys from the last week. Don't go anywhere. Okay, so let's now talk about the best Nugget this season so far. It's a young season, so these things might change. But Aaron Gordon should get a personal apology from Joker for ruining his career game in San Francisco. And after having a flamethrower game versus the Dubs, he was back to his super beast self, uh, or Aaron the Barbarian versus the Suns. What did you see from Aaron so far?
Man, I just love seeing his hops be back. I love seeing his athleticism back on the court. It helps on defense, it helps on offense, but just the ease with it helps him bringing the ball up the court. Having him out there, they're trying to harass Jamal and stuff with the ball, and they said, you know what? Just have Aaron bring it up. And Aaron doesn't care. What are you going to do to him? You know, it's my favorite thing is when tiny people try to bother Aaron Gordon, and he's like, "Yeah, no, go away, just shoot." So, like, I love seeing him healthy because he's such an important part of this squad, and we pivot the whole defense around him. You know, he has to switch assignments and be able to get out to shooters and do a bunch of different stuff that we could not do without him. Peyton Watson cannot make those reads. I mean, for better or worse, it's just not a thing that he does. Peyton's a much better help defender than an on-ball defender. So Aaron Gordon's job is to stop everybody getting in the paint, to get out to shooters, to rotate around the perimeter, to grab rebounds, to do block shot, all sorts of things that Aaron Gordon has to do for us. But watching him run around the court like a gazelle again is terrific because I mean he's in his what is this his 14th NBA season, something like that. He's
Well,
been around.
he was on the same draft as Nikola's 2014, so 12th season.
It's he's been around forever, man. Like, yeah, but he has another season over Jokic because Jokic didn't come into the league the first year.
Yeah, but the same draft, 2014. So Joker just came in 2015. But yeah,
But yeah, it's
yeah.
and he's played so many minutes for so many squads, having to do so much stuff. Um, Deron Holmes after this latest game talked about how for him and Cam Johnson, watching Aaron Gordon do what he does, the yoga, the meditation, getting his body right, getting his mind right. You know, he's been in the league for so long, and they're like, just watching him take care of his body and watching him prepare for getting on the court is so meaningful to them for showing them what they need to do to have longevity in this league. And I thought that was really, really interesting. Because Holmes, I mean, he's the guy that came off the Achilles, so he definitely is looking to take care of his body and figure out how to get his legs back, how to get back in perfect fighting shape. You know, and Aaron Gordon doing all the things that he does is a really good example for the kids of what you have to do to take care of yourself to be meaningful in this league for more than a decade. And Aaron still looks in his prime, man. You see him out there, that is prime Aaron Gordon doing prime Aaron Gordon things. The 270 dunk off of the Jokic pass. Come on,
Thank you
come
for the
on.
270. Like everybody was talking about the 360. I'm like, guys, 360 is a full circle.
Right? Yeah,
I called it 180, but I get it why you call it
it's
270.
the 270. It's fine.
Yeah,
It
I
was
agree. I
beautiful.
agree.
It was beautiful, and like he knew where everything was. He knew where everybody was around him. You know, it looked like an all-star game sort of dunk where everyone is cleared out, and he's like, "I'm just going to do this in a game."
It's just insane that that is even possible in a game where there's people who are trying to stop you from doing something. So that was, but I guess it's Phoenix Suns, so I don't know. Uh,
I just
uh,
wonder, I mean, Jeff Green, they call him Dunkle Jeff for a reason. He's another guy who
yeah.
had a lot of longevity in the league, played a many years because he was a super athletic forward who then learned to shoot and learned to do other things. Well, guess what Aaron Gordon just did? He's a super athletic forward who learned to shoot, you know, and can play some backup center when he wants to. I could very much see Aaron Gordon playing in the league as long as Jeff. So he's just
I
amazing.
One thing that's interesting to me is Aaron's fit with Cam Johnson on the court because while Cam Johnson was playing in Phoenix, I was watching him more than what I watched on the Nets. Like the
Sure.
Nets weren't a real team, and they were in the East, so who cares? I thought that Cam Johnson was more of a 3.5 than he really is. He doesn't seems to me like a guy who is a real 3.5 like Aaron and like Mike was, because Mike was 3.5 because he had to, guard the fours on defense
Right.
and play the three on offense. But Cam Johnson just seems a bit slight to me
He's a
to
3.
actually play a lot of minutes
He's
on
not
the
going to
floor.
play interior ball. He's not really. He doesn't have the height for it either. If you look at him on the court, like they say he's 6'8", and he's really 6'8", but he's not. Like Mike is 6'10", but Mike is much bigger than Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
So For me, I view him strictly as a three. Like I suppose he could be a small ball four if you're going really small, but he doesn't really have a back to the basket game. That's not his thing. He's a shooter. He's not really going to back you down. He's a cutter. He had some beautiful passes in transition in this game that I loved in the last one. The first game, you could tell he didn't know where the hell to be. He's running around with his head cut off on defense. He's hesitating on offense. They had to pull him aside and talk to him a couple times. And even during this game, they'd call timeouts for free throws, and he would head right over to the bench, and Adelman would explain to him part of what he's supposed to be doing and what it looks like. And I don't have any problem with that. I actually really like that for Cam. But I loved his transition passing for assists. I loved him being able to find guys. And he did one of those in the first game where I think he found Christian Braun. He dove out from under the baseline and threw one back over his shoulder to CB on the perimeter. Like, those are moves that MPJ was not going to make. Mike doesn't have that kind of flexibility. Like, three back surgeries later, he's not doing that. But you can see that Cam has the athleticism to really make his mark. And when he goes to the hoop, he goes hard.
He
I
looks
love that.
like Christian Braun finishing around the rim. It's
Yes.
pretty impressive.
Yep. So he's got that, and again, he's got a shot. I love the fact that he made a couple in this game. He took some open shots when they were there, made them. Um, they're gonna have to figure out how to feature him because he's very good. And he should boost your bench offense if he plays with them. But once again, Adelman has said it's not always going to be Jamal. Like, it's been Jamal for the first two games, rotating in with the bench. It's not always going to be Jamal. But I do like the fact that around the 6 minute mark, they're pulling some starters and getting some bench guys in there to get familiar with Jokic. I've been saying for years that part of the reason that the bench struggles is because they're all better with Jokic, but they don't have experience with Jokic. And so the last couple minutes of quarters, when they're not where they need to be necessarily, have been a problem. And then it rolls over to playing without him. I think it works much better if you filter in multiple starters with the bench, and then you have people like Bruce Brown who already knows how to play with him. You can have Tim Hardaway who knows that his job is to get shots up, rotate in with Joker to go ahead and get the balance right. So that's one of the we were talking about Adelman earlier. That's one of the things I've enjoyed seeing is that he's not going to be a hockey lineup switch guy. It's not going to be 5 in, 5 out. We're not doing line switches. We're actually going to blend starters and bench, and I like that.
And to be fair, this time around they have a mountain giant with a feathery touch in Jonas Valanciunas
They really do, man.
to be able to play those last 3 minutes of first and third quarter.
Well, that's what I love seeing Val out there. Like, Val is so important to this squad, and you can see it's not just the fact that they're running pick and rolls with Jamal and a 7-footer again off the bench, which they did do, but that's not their only bench offense. They're still cutting. He's still setting screens. He's grabbing rebounds. He's passing back out to shooters. Like, Valanciunas has a high offensive IQ, and he's using it with the bench to make sure that they're doing more than just standing around and then chucking a three when they can't figure out what to do, which is what the bench was last year in the half court. It's not going to be that this year, and that's really, really good to see in the first two games.
Oh, that very, very comforting, really. Let's go back to Christian Braun. He signed that 5-year, $125 million contract and had a bad game versus the Warriors, especially on the defensive side, where Steph didn't see him at all. Like,
Right.
he is not the screen navigator. By the way, and I'm stealing the show right now. When I hear somebody say "steal screen navigator," I always start singing "Screen Navigator." Screen navigator. Sorry. It's just too big of an urge for me. He couldn't do anything against Steph. That was the first chance for him to be kind of a scapegoat. He was lucky that Joker was even a bigger scapegoat after game one, so nobody actually noticed Christian's bad performance. He had a really good game against the lousy Suns. What did you feel about the extension and his play in general?
I like the extension. The extension is very reasonable to me. $25 million a year over 5 years average, totally fine. I don't have a problem with that at all. I haven't seen the structure of it to see if it's like a 25 flat or if it's graduated where it's going up a year. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we haven't seen that yet. Yeah.
Right. If it's flat, that's an even better deal for Denver. If you're paying 25 now, and that means you're also paying 25 later, that helps Denver tax wise by a lot when it comes to making the Cronkies okay with not trading people a couple years from now. So from Christian, you had to sign him. You could not replace him, and he's perfect for you. Like jerking him around about a couple of $1 million on a contract was not going to be worth it. But I did think he was pressing in game one. And he's even still pressing a little bit in game two. Trying to live up to a contract is not something a player should ever do. You should just play. Do the thing that got you the money. But I understand that once somebody says you're worth 9 figures, you suddenly decide that maybe you're going to have to do more things. I want him to do the things that he's good at, and that involves defense, transition, getting to the hoop. That involves finishing. It involves I need those threes that are open to make. He made them in the preseason, so that's good. But he didn't have the contract yet, and it wasn't real game time. So I think we still haven't seen his 3-pointers that I know are going to come. But otherwise, I thought game two was much better, much more in flow than game one. But Steph's also a bad matchup for him because he's a bad matchup for everybody. Like there's a reason Steph is an inner circle Hall of Famer. And it's not because he's an easy cover. But Denver doesn't have a small guard cover. They have Bruce Brown, he's okay, but they don't have a cover for those really quick perimeter guys. Christian's a little big for that. He's like a legit 6'6", 6'7". He's a couple inches taller than Adam Mares. So, like some guys say they're 6'7", and they're like below Adam's eyes, and I'm like, you ain't 6'7".
Yeah.
Because CB is legit. He's a big man. And so from a strength perspective, he scales up against threes much better than down against ones, in my opinion. And so Steph is legendary. I don't hold that against him. That's something we're gonna have to do with scheme. It's not Christian's fault, but he looked real bad. And so I was glad to see him have a get right game also.
Yeah, you mentioned Bruce Brown. He does seems like a better matchup for Steph. And if you look at just body types, Tim Hardaway Jr. would be even better. Unfortunately, he is not known to be a great defender. I'm not sure
Right.
what the actual reason for that is. Is it just the lack of effort or whatever? I don't know. But yeah, that is a problem. But when we mentioned Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway, and we mentioned Jonas before. The bench looked amazing in both of these two games, which
Oh,
is something I was hoping to say last week, but I wasn't really sure if it's going to happen. Which of these players stood out the most for you?
Jonas. I it's so different having a big man on the court who can keep getting rebounds. It's just really different for us. Like when they have that, it was DJ, but DJ was on his very last legs as a player, and he doesn't have a shot. Whereas you see Val around the rim, and he's just grabbing everything, putting it back up with a feathery touch, doing all of the right things, having some great passes. Like having him in there and being able to run real pick and rolls where he can be the pop guy out of it is actually quite impressive. I did think Val should have played more in game one when Joker was obviously tired. I don't know why they didn't play Valanciunas more minutes. I like in this game, I know why they didn't play him more because they didn't have to. Like down the stretch,
Yeah.
they went to the full garbage time minutes with like 5 minutes left because they had the game in hand. But for me, that's my favorite thing to see. I'm a little concerned that they're having Peyton Watson try to do Aaron Gordon things handling the ball. And I think Peyton's gotten better at that, but I don't think he's there yet. And you saw under some pressure from Golden State, some bad things happened when they were trying to have Watson take the ball up and initiate offense.
Yeah.
I don't think that's his bag. I don't think they should necessarily be doing that. But again, a guy can't grow unless you let him try. I just you should not let him try on opening night against a contender. He should try on like Magic night. Well, not even Magic night. Like Hornets night. He should try on Nets night. Like those nights are fine. Like maybe not on contender night on opening night, but
I always, yeah.
yeah,
I always complain how the season is too long with 82 games, so you can just forget about some loss. But I have to tell you, man, I've been watching more EuroLeague recently, and EuroLeague has only like 38 games
right,
for the duration of the season. And if you drop a game against a team you're not supposed to drop it, you're cooked. You're cooked like after a month of season. You see there's no way you're digging out of that hole. So it's actually pretty nice to be able to have like an awful month and
right.
still and still rise to the occasion and be the right. What did you think about Tim Hardaway's performance so
Well,
far? I
much
was pretty down on him during the preseason, but he seems to be the guy that knows his role and
that.
sometimes steps over it.
Well, but the thing is, if you give him the ball, he's going to shoot it.
Yeah,
Like Tim Hardaway, Tim Hardaway's not confused about his role on this team.
yeah,
His role on this team is find the open spot in the court, stand there, get a pass, chuck it at the rim. That's his job. He's going to do it. Like Julian thinks too much. So like the reason Julian Strother's not getting too much play early is because Tim Hardaway is catch ball, shoot ball, and that's what you want him to do. That is his role. Everything else that he does, as far as spacing, as far as grabbing the occasional rebound, making a good pass, whatever, those are nice. His job is to provide you with offense and to make sure that you take crisp offensive possessions. You don't just dribble the ball around and then fall down, which is what Julian did at the end of garbage time, against the Suns. Like, you can't be doing that. Julian then had a really good play where he finished at the rim, but his playmaking is still in progress because they're playing him sort of as a quasi point guard, like, or at least they're playing like a combo, like Will Barton. Basically, is what they're doing with Julian. And I think that's asking a bunch of Julian at this point. Whereas Tim doesn't have that requirement. That's Bruce's problem. Bruce has to handle the ball. Tim's job is to shoot. And so I think Julian could learn a lot from Tim Hardaway as far as, look, son, you could be in this league a really long time. If you catch ball, shoot ball, that's a really good place to be.
and the difference between Tim Hardaway and Julian Strother, they both have tunnel vision. It's just that Tim Hardaway's tunnel is way shorter. When he gets the ball, he just shoots it.
Yep.
And Julian gets the ball, he cannot shoot it. Now he's dribbling the ball. He's not looking at anybody.
Right.
And at the end, he's missing a tough floater. And that looks way worse than a missed three because,
Right.
nobody expects you to hit more than 40% of your threes.
Right.
But if you're missing shots close to the rim, that looks awful. And yeah, the it's just not a good look for Strother. This is why he is looking outside to the rotation, right?
Right, because this is what they need from that role. That role has to be you're going to get 6 or 8 shots a game. If you touch the ball 10 times, you better get up 8 shots. Like that's sort of the expectation, of that particular role in the offense. You're not going to see the ball a bunch. When you get it, it means if we met you to have it, shoot it. And so if Julian can learn that this year, I think that'll be really helpful for him. And Tim Hardaway Jr. is a professional. Like he knows what to do. He is a professional scorer. He's not even necessarily a sharpshooter. He's not. He doesn't shoot like Mike,
Yeah.
but he does shoot willingly, eagerly. He's happy to shoot. And Denver need the thing about shooting consistent quick threes is if we hand you the ball and we know you're going to shoot it, then you can prepare for who has to get back on defense if you miss, and
Yes.
you can prepare for who's going to get to the rack. If
Yes.
we don't know if you're going to shoot it, everyone else has to sort of stand around and wonder if you're actually going to get the ball up. Then if you turn it over, nobody's back because you were trying to do other stuff. It's confusing for the offense and it messes up your transition defense. So if you're getting the ball to a guy who you know is going to shoot, and he does shoot, you can plan for whether it goes in, whether it doesn't go in. You have options. You can set everything up. And so removing confusion from the bench offense is such a huge part of what Denver needs to do this year. It's been great to see Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway getting involved early to make sure we don't have that confusion. And I like seeing that. That's what the vets are here for.
And also, it is helpful if you end your possession on your legs and not fall down like Julian
Correct.
usually does when he
Correct.
tries to hit those tough floaters. So that helps with coming back too. Okay, let's take our last break, and after that, we're gonna have some fun. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we are back, and I didn't want to say that we did not have fun so far. It's just that now we're gonna go away from basketball and talk about basketball more in a more casual way, I guess. So this is why I prepared my trusty presentation, and I will give you a series of movie titles, and I want you to guess which nugget I was thinking about when I was pulling that movie title up.
Oh, I tested my knowledge. Okay, let's see how this goes.
It's not really knowledge because you will see
It's my
sometimes
knowledge of you.
that's
What
right.
that's gonna
That's
be.
right. That is very good way to say that. Okay, so um uh it's not okay. Let's just start with the first one. The first movie I'm gonna give you is Enter the Dragon. Which nugget did I
I'm gonna
think
guess
of?
Jamal Murray.
That is correct. And
Hey!
honestly, it is a bit lazy. I promise the other ones are going to be more thoughtful than this. Uh, uh, it's not a very intelligent way of doing it, but we know Jamal's dad put him through some kung fu training, and who is better to represent kung fu than Bruce Lee? Now, before you correct me, yes, Bruce Lee was famous for Jeet Kune Do, but he
Okay.
did practice kung fu before that. Uh,
Yep.
do you have another movie you would use for Jamal Murray to describe Jamal Murray?
Jamal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this one's pretty good. I might go John Wick just because he keeps running around like his legs aren't going to work, but he keeps getting the job done. And that's how Jamal looks to me. Jamal looks like he has 50-year-old knees, but still very effective.
Yeah, Jamal is very inspirational. I wanted to go with Die Hard as well. Like,
There you go.
however much you knock him down on the floor, he's just gonna
Yep.
get up again and
He's
do
a
his
stubborn
thing.
man. Yeah, no, like I said. But I love that he said he's having fun this year. That's good. Have fun, Jamal. Enjoy it. It's a good drive. You're not going to be able to do this forever.
Okay, second movie, RoboCop.
Man, you can't be doing that to me because he's not on the team anymore.
That is fair, but I'm only talking about the current Nuggets. I thought of somebody else. I know who are you talking about. And actually, that would have been much more smarter than what I did. But it is what it is.
Right? No, man. I was just thinking of.
So this is my train of thoughts. RoboCop is reliable, efficient, righteous. I don't know if there's another movie character that describes Christian Braun better than RoboCop.
I see what you're doing. That makes sense.
I mean, I could have gone with Universal Soldier, I guess.
I was just thinking of Vlaco. So I had trouble getting off of Vlaco because we called him Robocop for a while there and as a nickname. But
That
Christian
is
Brown
true.
looks good.
Yeah, and that his face fell down. Would you choose a different title for Christian?
Man, I don't know what movie I'd pick for Christian Brown. We can't talk about Jackie Brown because then we have to talk about Tarantino. And
Yeah, we did.
from our other chat, we're not doing that.
We did have a lot of Tarantino talk in the past week. Yeah. Okay, let's go to a next one, and I have to admit this is a dumb one too, but it is what it is. Matthew McConaughey in Surfer Dude.
You taking Aaron Gordon for that?
It is Aaron Gordon, and
Yeah.
I don't think I need to explain much here, but this is the movie I never watched in my life, but I vividly remember this poster thinking, is Matthew McConaughey the worst actor in Hollywood when he's doing movies like that? And then I saw him like in several brilliant roles after that, and so I guess he was taking some other types of roles when he was younger.
Now, the thing with Matthew McConaughey is that he did get by in a pretty face, and that's all he was being given. So he
Yeah.
literally took a year off from film to say, I'm not doing any pretty face roles anymore. I'm going to get real roles, or I'm not going to do any work. And it worked. That's how he got Interstellar. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of him from things like A Time to Kill and The Lincoln Lawyer, and not as big a fan of The Surfer Dude or How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days or whatever. Like those are not my kind of thing.
He was good in Tropic Thunder as well. I remember that role, but that's a goofy movie that not everybody loves, and I'm guilty of loving it. Would you propose a different movie for Aaron Gordon though?
Um, Aaron Gordon.
It's so tough when I put you on the spot like this. I had like you remember we were chatting when I was doing this, and I had like 45 minutes of downtime to do this, so I got
Right?
the
Yeah.
time
Hey, you're
to
the one. You
figure
weren't
it out.
flexing on it. Um. I don't know. I hate saying pain and gain because, but I just see his workouts. But those
Okay.
guys are dumb. He's much smarter than that. But
Uh, that's actually a pretty good movie. I expected nothing from that movie, and I had a good time
right.
watching Pain and Gain. Okay, next movie, Beautiful Mind.
We're going with Jokic for that.
Well, not only is he
Yeah.
a brilliant student of the
Yeah.
game, Nikola also deciphers opponents' plays in real time,
Oh yeah.
as John Nash deciphered encrypted enemy communications in Beautiful Mind, the
Yes.
movie. Why, why the quote? The
No.
quote.
No. Because as a brilliant guy, there were some enemy communications he was getting that were not. That's not a good thing. But no, he's like I said, he's terrific. Like I love watching his brain work on the court. There was one instance, if I don't know if you caught it, it was Grayson Allen. They were trying to do the quick inbounds, so he throws the ball to the ref over Grayson Allen's head, and Grayson touches the ball, and Joker's like, "Well, that's a foul. I'm going to the foul line now. That's a technical foul." Because he just got a free point out of it because he knew better than Grayson Allen what he was doing. It's just I love the fact that his brain's working every play, every out of bounds, every single time he has a chance to try to make a play, he's going to do it.
My favorite little side quest during watching that game was to see whether the Nuggets are gonna make Grayson Allen or Royce O'Neal look worse
Yep.
in
Yep.
their minute. And Royce O'Neal actually won that battle because the Suns actually won the minutes without Royce O'Neal on the court. They lost by 22, and he was minus 26 or something like that.
Right.
So
My favorite thing, my very favorite part of that game was when Aaron Gordon threw the ball over his head to Joker, and Nikola looked at him and caught the ball, and he put it in the hoop, even though Christian Braun was right there because he wanted to make sure Aaron Gordon got the assist. His brain was like, I don't want to score, but also Aaron Gordon deserves an assist for that play. So I'm going to go ahead and take the scoring opportunity that I would normally give to Christian Braun because Aaron deserves the assist. And you in real time, you watch him just deciding, yep, I got to give my guy an assist on that one. It's hilarious to me.
it is. It was hilarious. Next movie, Rocky 4.
Ivan Drago. Um,
So dumb.
I don't know who this is gonna be, man. Like,
Well, I have to admit, this is a bit racist. I just thought of Jonas from the former
you want
Soviet
Jonas from the
Republic
jawline?
of Lithuania. Yeah,
There you
well,
go.
his jawline is a bit hidden behind that beer. But I was thinking about Jonas when I was thinking about Ivan Drago, and hopefully Nikola and Jonas won't fight each other, but will
Hopefully not.
together form the most frightening inside presence in the league. And if I remember correctly, like Ivan Drago was kind of positive at the end of that movie. Like he was like, "Yeah, good job, Rocky." while whole of Moscow was just chanting,
Right?
"Rocky, Rocky."
Yep. I remember it. Hopefully Jonas doesn't wind up having to kill anybody first to get to that point. But
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, next movie, another maybe controversial one. Django Unchained, the movie you haven't watched.
Yeah, I was gonna say. back to our Tarantino conversation. Um,
But I'm going to tell you, there's a guy
can I
who
pick
is,
Bruce Brown because of the hat?
yes, and also after escaping the chains of Indiana, Toronto, and New Orleans, our favorite cowboy Bruce Brown is free to do what he loves the most beneath the Rockies. So
There was
that
nothing
was a
funnier
good
to
guess.
me, like in the home opener when they yeehawed on welcoming him back to Denver, and the whole crowd went wild. Bruce is the most beloved one-year player in the history of this squad. I have to say.
I can confirm that with 100% certainty when it comes to me. Like there was no 1 year Nugget ever I loved more than Bruce Brown, and
Right?
I'm really happy he's back, and I really hope he's not gonna stain the memory of his first
So far, it looks good, man.
period.
So
So
far, it
far,
looks
so
like he's
good.
doing it right.
So far,
Yeah.
so good. Yeah. Okay, two more. Deadpool. This is so dumb.
I don't know, man. Who's supposed to be Deadpool? You hit me with
So
this.
depending on who and when you ask, Tim Hardaway Jr. is either a hero or an anti-hero.
Okay.
So I could have gone with the oh god, what's the friend of Spider-Man who is sometimes good and sometimes evil? Oh god, uh, I'm like Tom Hardy plays it. Oh, I'm blanking.
Venom.
Venom, yeah. I could have gone with Venom, I guess. But yeah, that was my train of thought. I have to agree, it's not a very smart one. The last one for today. Goodwill Hunting.
Goodwill Hunting. Are we going with Cam?
Yes, that is
Hey.
correct. He is a good-looking guy who spent the last 2.5 seasons in Brooklyn, which is equivalent of being a janitor at MIT, or in his case, the NBA. The E League is the janitor of the NBA. He gets discovered by a professor, in this case, JJ Redick. But after being involved in a deal with Michael Porter Jr., he is saved by a psychiatrist, in this case, Coach David Adelman. It's Cam Johnson. And look at
Hey,
that hairline,
perfect.
man.
Oh, well,
Like that,
yeah, I was gonna say, like, he's definitely got the locks going there with the hair.
yeah, that works perfectly. Okay, Gordon, do you want to promote when can we expect the next episode of the Denver Stiffs show?
I don't know. Probably tomorrow. Zach and I will probably do one, and we'll get it up tomorrow for everybody. Some of this recap will be in there, I'm sure, and some of it will be different. But yeah, we're gonna try to get them out weekly. That's the goal. That depends on schedule, but it's just gonna be talking about the Nuggets again, man. Like it was a long summer because it was longer than I expected it to be. I guess, even though Denver went pretty far, like it, it was still longer summer than I expected it to be.
Yeah, it's always fun and always on my podcast machine, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. Send my regards to Zach,
Will do.
please. And that is all I've prepared for you, my dear listener. And please, with cherry on top, please take the word prepared very loosely. Be well, be safe, be kind to everybody. Call your mom, and until next week, remember that my plan is to be Nuggets forever.